The first hours. Your car drops 6 inches. Not a bump, not a pothole. Every car on the highway drops at once, like God pressed down on the roof of the world. 2 seconds ago, you were drumming your fingers on the steering wheel, half listening to a forecast about Sunday rain. Then the weight hits. It starts in your chest. The seatbelt locks. It doesn't feel like a crash. It feels like someone stacked a second you on top of the first one. Your sternum takes the belt load, and you already know it will bruise. 120 kilograms of effective body weight, pressed into nylon webbing, 2 centimeters wide. You look up. The semi-trailer 40 meters ahead, the white Freightliner with the red logo, folds. Not tips, not slides. The frame buckles at the fifth wheel, and the cab crushes flat to the asphalt like a beer can under a boot. The trailer swings left across 2 lanes. Cars disappear under it. From above, the 6-lane highway looks like a compression test. Every vehicle sunken, tires splayed outward, wheel wells kissing the road. You try to open your door. You can't lift it. A standard car door weighs 15 kilograms. Right now, it weighs 30. Your arm shakes at 45 degrees. Outside, people who got out in time are not standing. Nobody is standing. They are crawling on hot asphalt, palms flat, heads down, moving like they forgot how knees work. The afternoon sky above them is a clean, stupid blue. Not a cloud, not a warning. Just the sun, right where it always is, acting like nothing happened. You don't stand either. You try. Your legs hold for 3 seconds. Then your knees go soft and you go down hard onto the car door you finally got open, chin 6 inches from the ground. The radio is still playing. Sunny skies through the weekend. Day 1. 90 minutes. 2 kilometers. You don't walk it. You crawl it. Your palms are raw by the 400-meter mark. The asphalt is 48 degrees in the afternoon sun, and it doesn't care. You move on your forearms when your wrists give out. You move on your knees when your forearms bleed. The highway shoulder is littered with shoes. Actual shoes. Kicked off by people who couldn't lift the weight of souls anymore. You pass 3 of them before you stop counting. Your phone has been to voicemail 12 times. Your sister. Your mom. A number you don't even have saved because you tried anything. The screen goes black at the 800-meter mark. No warning. Just black. You stare at it for 4 seconds and then put it in your pocket because there is nothing else to do. Nobody comes. The overpass takes another 50 minutes. When you reach the shadow side of the concrete wall, 6 other people are already there. 2 sitting with their backs flat against it, 3 lying down. 1 man just staring at his hands like they belong to someone else. Nobody talks. You press your spine against the cool concrete and breathe. Then you look out at the skyline. The glass tower, the tall one, 34 floors, blue mirrored, is missing its top 3 floors. They didn't fall outward. They pancaked straight down, one compressed, dark slab sitting where the upper floors used to be. Every building still standing has shed its glass curtain walls in long diagonal strips. The facades look flayed. Wooden utility poles all lean the same direction, toward the ground. Power lines draped across car roofs like dead vines, slack and flat. A broken water main below the overpass is shooting a geyser. Normally, that arc goes 8 meters. You know this because you've seen it before on a street crew call-out. A white plume, dramatic, loud. This one reaches 2 meters. Gravity slaps it back down into a flat fan that barely clears knee height, spreading sideways across the asphalt in a thin silver sheet. The old world used to throw things upward. It doesn't anymore. You file that fact somewhere cold and useful, next to the dead phone in your pocket, next to the 12 unanswered calls. You need water. You need cover that isn't open highway. The overpass is concrete and low and real. You decide you're staying until dark. 1 week. The dolly weighs 11 kilograms empty. Its load limit is 270 kilograms, stamped right on the frame in black ink. That number means nothing now. 2 times gravity means 135 kilograms usable. You know this because the first load snapped a wheel bolt clean off, and you had to redistribute everything by hand in the dark. You are on your stomach. The gap between collapsed shelving rows is 1.2 meters high. Not enough to crouch, barely enough to breathe. Lantern light cuts through a hole in the roof, a shaft of pale dust where the HVAC unit punched straight through the decking, its 400-kilogram chassis now embedded in the concrete floor like a monument. You drag the rope. The dolly moves 6 centimeters. You drag again. There are 11 of you. We're 11. The fire starts at hour 8. Not in your aisle, 2 rows over, near the loading dock where someone's lantern tips. You hear it before you smell it. A soft crackling, then the smoke, then orange light bleeding through gaps in the shelving. You move. Everyone moves. The woman behind you learned her name was Carol, has a bad hip. Pre-existing, she said on day 2. She is slow in the tunnels. She was slow all week. You knew it. You all knew it. At the exit, 9 people clear the threshold. You are 10th. Carol is still 14 meters back in the tunnel, dragging herself on both forearms, her rope slack, her dolly abandoned. You look at her. You look at the smoke. You look at the 47 cans of black beans and diced tomatoes on your dolly, outside in the gray afternoon light. You close the gap to 0. You do not go back through that door. Nobody says anything. Nobody needs to. Outside, the parking lot is open sky and broken glass, and 3 months of someone else's trash compressed flat against the curb by a week of doubled weight. You sit against a concrete pillar and count what you have. You don't think about Carol. You think about how many calories are in a 400-gram can of beans. You learn to count. You learn to calculate. You learn that the math matters more than you do. Not anymore, the person who would have gone back. 1 month. The school gymnasium holds 61 people. 60 now. Thomas died Tuesday, cardiac arrest, the 3rd time he tried to stand from a cot to reach the latrine at 2 a.m. Margaret went 4 days before him. Same cause. The cots are gone. Flat wooden pallets cover the entire gym floor in rows, 18 centimeters off the ground, each one topped with folded blankets and a personal bundle no larger than a backpack. You helped rip out the cot frames yourself. You used the metal for bracing the door frames. You look across the gym floor and see bodies in permanent low crouch, moving between rows like animals that forgot standing was ever an option. Nobody walks upright anymore. A few people move on all fours and don't seem embarrassed. You stopped being embarrassed 3 weeks ago. The latrine trench runs along the north wall outside, 40 centimeters deep, lined with salvaged plastic sheeting, the thick kind, 6 mil, torn from a construction site 2 blocks away. You dug the first 12 meters yourself over 2 days, flat on your side with a short-handled spade, pushing dirt backward with your feet. Level access, no squatting, no standing. That was your design. 60 people use it without comment. The sandbags reach the windowsills on every exterior wall, stacked 4 rows high, packed with playground sand. Every window is bricked to half its original height. Outside the one gap left for airflow, what used to be a 2-story colonial house is now a rubble mound barely chest high. Its second floor pancaked flat into the first, grass already pushing through the broken shingles. You don't think about your apartment. You notice you don't think about it. That observation lasts about 4 seconds. You think about the water filter. You think about the 22 remaining liters in the drum. You think about 60 mouths. You do the math. You always do the math now. 6 months. You wake at 5 a.m. flat on your back, hands gripping the traction bar welded to the wall above your pallet. 30 seconds of pull. You count every one. Your spine has compressed 4 centimeters since the day the weight doubled. You know this because you measured yourself against a door frame with a pencil mark, twice a month, watching the mark creep down. The pain is a dull hot rod from your tailbone to your shoulders. It doesn't go away. You stopped waiting for it to go away around month 3. You get up. You do the work. The sled route runs 3.2 kilometers from the school's north exit to the water treatment plant on Ellery Road. You built it over 6 weeks. Steel cable salvaged from a collapsed elevator shaft, rated 900 kilograms before, 450 in 2G, and you don't load above 380. Runs between wooden guideposts hammered into the ground at knee height, spaced every 8 meters along the full length. The asphalt is worn smooth in 2 parallel tracks where the sleds have polished it. You notice this every morning. It looks like an old country road. It looks permanent. Two people pull a loaded flatbed furniture sled at a forward lean of roughly 45 degrees, arms extended, weight into the cable. Spine braces visible under padded jackets. Total round-trip time, 90 minutes. It used to take 6 hours. That 6-hour number was killing people. 2 cardiac events on water runs before the route existed. Not anymore. The low zone is mapped and marked. A 5-kilometer corridor of single-story and subgrade structures. Every building above 1 floor stripped or already collapsed into rubble. Dense scrub and weeds grow flat and thick in every gap between walls, pressed down by weight, like the ground is swallowing the city slowly. It probably is. A man you don't know the name of pulls beside you on the morning run. You don't ask. He doesn't offer. He leans at the same angle. He knows the cable tension. That's enough. You think about the person who used to drum their fingers on a steering wheel, waiting for traffic to move. You don't recognize them at all. 1 year. The cough starts in week 1, low and wet. You think it's the cold. By week 3, 7 people can't work the sled route. By week 4, you're counting beds instead of tasks. The school building's basement walls are black with mold. Not a patch here and there, but full sheets of it. Green-black, running floor to ceiling in the corners where the pallets sit closest to the ground. You've slept 6 inches from it for months. Everyone has. Lungs that already burn, pulling weight in 2G air, have nothing left to fight with. 19 people die in 6 weeks. You watch the 2 who knew the water treatment dosing go in the same fortnight. One of them, a woman who kept the chemical ratios written on her forearm in marker every morning, dies on a Tuesday. The other goes 4 days later. The laminated cheat sheet they made together is 43 steps long. You can follow it, but you don't understand it. There's a difference. You feel that difference every time you stand at the dosing tank and your hands hesitate. 41 people remain. You make the call on a Wednesday morning. The shopping strip on Crane Street has 8 connected basements, running roughly 180 meters end to end. Cut through with doorways you spend 5 days hammering open with a salvaged pneumatic chisel running off the bicycle generator. The ceilings are low, 2.1 meters, and the LED strip lights strung along the joists turn everything amber. Pallets go up on 15-centimeter wooden blocks to keep them off the concrete. The mold up top stays up top. You seal the floors above with rubble hauled in on sleds, 3 tons of it, until the school building's silhouette is just a dark, caved-in shape against the flat, gray sky. 8 people won't go underground. You see their faces when you explain it. You don't argue. You watch them pack their bundles, maybe 12 kilograms each, no more than that, and walk out the entrance hole into the white daylight. 8 silhouettes shrinking down the sled road until the distance takes them. You seal the hatch. The amber light hums. 41 people breathe slower air, cleaner air. You stand at the dosing notes and read step 1 again. 2 years. The table sits 30 centimeters off the floor. You built it that way on purpose. Every centimeter you don't have to lift your spine costs less. Around it, 4 people sit cross-legged in the same padded braces you all wear now, stiff canvas and salvaged neoprene, stitched tight around the lumbar, the kind of garment that didn't exist before and has no name from before. The walls hold shelves of radio equipment and labeled medicine boxes. Several boxes are empty. You stopped turning them face down months ago. Easier to see what's gone. The runner from Settlement 3 arrives at 0340. She's 19. She crawled the connector tunnel, 80 meters, hands and knees, because the sled route was iced. She sets the membrane on the table. What's left of it? The 200-micron filtration disc, 60 centimeters across, sits in 2 pieces. You have 1 spare. Settlement 2 requested it 11 days ago for a slower degradation. Certain need, smaller scale. You haven't sent it yet. You look at the hand-drawn map. Grease pencil. Settlement 3's symbol, a circle with 3 lines, sits over a blue dot that means groundwater access. Without the membrane, that dot means nothing. 300 meters of pipe feeding 80 people, and the water comes out the color of rust. You give the spare to 3. You make that call in 4 minutes. You don't say it out loud. You write it on the tally sheet and slide it to the runner, and she crawls back into the dark. Settlement 2 goes 11 days without safe water. They boil what they can. It's not enough. 3 elderly residents die, waterborne. The reports come in flat, factual, 1 sentence each. You carry that arithmetic in silence. You carry the bridge, too. Last month, you stood at the periscope tube, a salvaged pipe angled through 2 meters of packed earth, and watched 80 people divert into the lowland flats after the crossing went down. You gave the order. The bridge symbol on your map has a thick red X through it now. You drew it yourself. You haven't learned what happened to those 80 people. You won't. 300 people eat tonight because of decisions you make at this table. You read that sentence back to yourself sometimes. It doesn't help. 5 years. The schoolroom sits 2 meters underground. Low tables, salvaged books spine up on wall shelves. Where the wild things are, a cracked atlas, a primer with the first 12 pages missing. The light comes from 4 LED strips wired to a hand-crank battery bank. Warm, steady. The kids drew the walls. Crayon neighborhoods, flat roofs, half-buried walls, no second floors anywhere. That's just how houses look to them. You're sitting cross-legged on the packed earth floor, your knuckles pressed down for balance. The padded brace around your lumbar is 3 years old and shows it. Fraying canvas, a buckle replaced with knotted cord. You've stopped noticing it the way you stopped noticing breathing. Her name doesn't matter. She's 4. Born 8 months after the doubling, underground, into 2G and nothing else. She sits opposite you, legs wide, spine easy, utterly at rest on the ground the way water is at rest. She found the word upstairs in a salvaged picture book 20 minutes ago and asked you what it means. You've been trying to explain it since. You tear a 15-centimeter scrap of cardboard from a box flap. You draw 2 boxes, one sitting on top of the other. You say, "This box is a room. This box is another room. The second one is above the first one." She stares at the drawing the way you once stared at a diagram of a black hole. "Above," you say again. "Higher up." She looks at the ceiling. Packed earth and wooden beams, 40 centimeters overhead. She looks back at the drawing. You can see her working it. Genuinely working it. It doesn't land. Not because she's slow. Because the concept requires a world she has never touched. You try to stand to demonstrate. Your hips refuse. Not pain exactly, just a flat refusal. The body's settled verdict. You stopped making vertical moves like that somewhere in year 3 without noticing. She stands for you instead. Correct 2G posture, knees soft, weight low, no wasted lift. She shows you, patient, unself-conscious, the way you'd show someone which door to pull. You let her. You look at her crayon houses on the wall. Every one of them, single story, flat roof, half in the ground. She didn't draw ruins, she drew home. 10 years. The tile is about 30 centimeters square, glossy. A repeating geometric pattern, cream and terracotta. The kind of floor you'd find in a mall food court or a discount pharmacy. You don't remember which one. It doesn't matter. What matters is that it's still bright. 10 years under rubble and packed earth, and it's still stupid, cheerful bright. You found it while checking the junction's eastern brace. 6 reclaimed steel I-beams, each one repositioned by a 6-person team last spring. The work held. You were pressing your palm along the seam when your fingers found the edge. You cleared the grit with your thumb. The pattern came up clean underneath. You sit with it now. Your boots are beside the tile, thick-soled, double-cushioned, worn so deep into their compression layer that the left heel sits 3 centimeters lower than the right. The amber LEDs run the length of both tunnels. Netting and salvaged steel and packed walls in every direction. A world that has fully forgotten it was ever anything else. You don't feel sad. That's the thing. You look at the tile the way you'd look at a word in a foreign language you once knew. You can see what it is. You cannot feel what it was. The person who walked across floors like this, upright, loose, not counting the cost of each step, you have seen that person recently. A 40-second clip on a salvaged hard drive. Parking lot footage. You. Walking. You watched it twice and felt nothing except a faint confusion, like looking at someone else's handwriting and being told it's yours. Not grief, just distance. A clean, final distance. A child's voice comes down the east tunnel, maybe 60 meters off. You cover the tile with the flat gray stone, not slowly, not as ceremony, just because leaving it exposed would confuse them. They'd ask what it was for, and there's no answer that fits the world they live in. Marcus slides another package onto the conveyor belt, rolling his shoulders again. The fluorescence hums above him as he reaches for the next parcel, heavier than usual. Or is it just him? He drums his fingers against the counter, half listening to the warehouse radio crackling about tomorrow's forecast. He has no idea why his body feels so weighted down, so impossibly heavy. He has no idea what's coming. But somewhere across the city, on a highway stretching toward nothing, another driver drums their fingers on a steering wheel, and the sky prepares to answer. The cycle continues.